Although, in this video, I'll show you how to store a variable, in this case a number, in a per flow or globally across all flows and do something with it. In this case, I'll be looking at the input ons and only outputting an on once the number of input ons reaches 3. Also, I'll show you a practical use that I use in my home setup. I'm going to do this in a function node. And then inside here, we're going to write our code. So the first thing we need to do is declare a variable. Now I'm going to use a constant. I'm going to need to give it a variable name. So let's call this one counter name. And that's going to equal the variable that Node-RED is going to store. Now I'm going to give this another name. I'm going to call this one my counter. And then we finish the line with a semicolon. Next thing I did is make a variable, not a constant. And I'm going to call this one counter value. And this is going to be the number of ons that this function node is going to be triggered against. It will make sense in a minute, but I'm going to use 3. The first thing I need to do when running this is to actually set the variable in Node-RED. And because this is not set at the moment, what we can do is we can make Node-RED do it automatically. So I'm going to do an if, open brackets, exclamation mark, flow.get. Flow.get will look out into this flow. And this is the context menu. If you haven't got the menu up here, normally it comes in like that. So just expand it out to reveal that. In the context menu, we have several areas. We've got the node, which we're not going to worry about, the flow and the global. Now we're going to be using the global in a second. This is where Home Assistant stuff comes in. So we've got all the entities from Home Assistant, states, services, and everything else. But we're doing a flow get. So in here at the moment, you can see if I refresh it, there's nothing in the flow. So the flow get command needs a pair of brackets. Inside that, we need to give it something to find, and this could be anything. Now we're going to use a my counter variable. Now I've given this a counter name, so we're going to use the counter name instead of my counter. This will all make sense in a second. So I'm going to copy that off of there, put that in there. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to say if flow counter, and this exclamation mark here means that this if statement will be true if flow counter is not present. It's like saying if this doesn't equal to. Next we need to tell it what to do if this statement is true. And we do this with open curly brackets. You can see the editor's given me a closed curly bracket. And this is the area that we want to put what we want to do if this is true. So I'm going to make a space here. The first thing we're doing, if flow get isn't true, i.e. counter name variable is not present in flow, let's do something. So what we're going to do is going to actually make it. So we're going to do flow.set, open brackets, and again it's giving us the closed brackets again. We're going to put in that counter name. We want to give it a value. To do that, we'll just do a comma, and I'm going to put 0 here since we're counting stuff. Finish the line with a semicolon, and then we've already got the closed curly brackets that finishes that if statement. So what this part's going to do is going to look in the flow area and get counter name. As I say, counter name is the variable name of the name that we're going to call what we're storing the data in. So as I say, this could be anything. So if not counter name get which retrieves nothing, it's going to make counter name and give it a value of 0. So let's test that. So we're going to OK that, going to OK that. Now if I do a refresh by hitting this little button here, you can see that flow has nothing in it. So what I'm going to do is just test this out. I'm going to put an inject node in and I'm going to fire this function and we'll just deploy that. So at the moment there's nothing in there. Refreshing, nothing in there. If I trigger this now, the function node's going to look in the flow.get and try and get counter name, which we've called my counter. As it's not set, it's going to make it for us. So now if I refresh, we have a variable there called my counter with a value of 0. So if I was to change this to say Dave's and refresh that, now if I fire this and refresh, we get another variable called Dave's. And again, that's giving it a value of 0. So this first line here ensures that the variable is set in the flow of our context menu inside Node-RED. So this needs to be a counter. So we're using the variable of counter value 3. So what we want to do is we want to say every time this function node gets an on coming in, we're going to increase this number here, which is our variable that's been saved, by 1. When it gets to 3, we're going to do an output. So the code for that is quite simple. Now the first thing we need to do is do a reset because we want to reset this back to 0. And we're going to do the reset first because that needs to be looked at first before it does any adding or anything else. We'll do another if statement, and this is going to be message.payload equals reset. So what this if statement is looking for, if the message payload, which is what's coming in here essentially, is equal to reset this counter. Again, we'd start with the open curly brackets. It gives us the closed curly brackets to make the if statement complete. And all we need to do inside this if is set the counter name back to 0. So we can just copy this line again. So we'll copy that, we'll put that in there. One other thing I did as well, just to keep everything nice and tidy so we can see what we're doing, we're also going to set the message payload to equal off. And again, we'll finish the line with a semicolon, just so that the function node's got an output when it's reset, so we can use that elsewhere to see if our counter has been reset. Before we go any further, let's put this back to my counter, because that's what we're going to be using. Okay, so that's the reset covered. Next we want to do what happens when we receive an on statement. So as I say, this is basically going to count the number of ons. If it gets to 3 or above, it will send an on output that we can use elsewhere. We're already using an if statement there, so we're going to do an else space if. It's much the same as an if statement, we just need to tell it a parameter that needs to be true in order to trigger this. And this is going to be message.payload, and we want to see if message.payload equals the string on. So for example, on, say for a light or a button. Again, open curly brackets, it gives us the second closed curly brackets, so we'll hit enter to bring in the new line. Now this is where it gets slightly complicated, so bear with me. So the first thing we want to do is take the counter value, whatever it is, at the moment it's 0, and we want to add 1 to it. So every time an on comes on, this gets incremented by 1. So to do that, we're going to do flow.set. So this is like we're doing up here, we're setting it. And then what do we want to set? Well, we want to set counter name in here, and do a comma, and then this is where we put the value, but we don't want to put a specific number in. What we want to do is get the value and add 1 to it. So that's quite simple. We do a flow.get, so this is going to look in the flow area and get, well, what's it going to get? We want to get the counter name again, so we do counter name variable, flow.get, and that goes in brackets, and then we'll just paste in our name. And then what do we want to do? Well, we want to add 1 to it. Again, finish the line with a semicolon. So now we've got to the situation where no resets come in, this bit's ignored, it's going to look down, it's going to do, well, what else has happened? Well, if an on comes in, we're going to set the counter name, like we did up here, set counter name. And what we're going to set it to, well, we're not going to set it to 0, we're going to go and get the variable. What variable? Counter name, and add 1 to it. So let's test that. We'll deploy that. Now, instead of sending a timestamp, we want to send a string this time. So I'm going to do 2. I'm going to do a reset first. Do that one, and then we're going to copy and paste, and then we'll put the on up here, shove it on in there, and then we'll connect that up, redeploy. So do a quick refresh, we can see that my counter's at 0. If I hit the on, nothing's going to happen, we have to do a refresh every time, unfortunately. So now we can see our counter's gone to 1. If I keep on hitting on, what's that, about 5-6 times, we can see it's now gone up to 10, so obviously that was 8 times. If I hit the reset now, that's going to go to 0 when I refresh, and then add another on, and again it goes up. So that's the on and the reset. Next thing we want to do is look at the value of my counter variable and ask, is it 3 or above? We're looking at the counter name and the counter value this time. Now counter value is what we set up here, so 3. So what we want to do is we want to come down within the else if, we want to do another if. So inside here, let's make another space. I'm going to do an if flow.get, and again, what do we want to get? We want to get our variable. Our variable is called counter name, but we're using a constant inside this function though, so I'm going to copy this constant again. So I'm going to retrieve the value of counter name, which is our variable my counter, and I want to ask if it is greater than or equal to our number that we set, and that's counter value. So I'm going to copy that. So within this else if statement, we're going to add 1 to it. Then we're going to see if the counter name, so counter name, my counter here, this value here, if it is greater than or equal to counter value, which is the 3 that we set up here. And again, we're doing an if statement, so we need to give it something to do if that statement is true. Open curly brackets, again, hit enter. And then what we want to do is, first of all, we want to reset that counter because our target number has been reached here. What we're going to do is we're just going to take that bit there, copy that again. I'm going to reset our variable back down to 0, and I'm also going to output something. So the function node does something when the number of ons come in is equal to or greater than 3. And all I'm going to do here is message.payload, and I'm going to output an on string. Again, finish the line with a semicolon. So now, every time an on comes in, increase this number by 1. If that number is equal to or more than the number that we set here, then reset the counter back to 0 and output and on. And then final bit of cleanup is we do another else statement. And again, we're going to do open brackets to give the else something to do. And all we want to do here is return nothing. So just going to return a null. What that's doing is if none of this is true, it doesn't do anything. So that's everything done for the on and the reset. Now we just want to make sure that this does nothing if an off is received in the function node, because we don't want this to trigger or send an output of off if we receive an off. And in most cases, because we've got the return message here and we're using the return message elsewhere in the code, and we need to make sure that the output doesn't do anything if we receive anything like an off or another message.payload. And then to do that, we just need to add one more else to the bottom of our code, open curly brackets, hit return, hit enter to give us a space to write the code, and we're just going to return again another null. Okay, it looks complicated, but that's all the code done, and I'll give you this code. You don't need to change anything else. The only thing you need to change is every time you use this function node, give it a unique name, and that's why we're using the variable here, because otherwise you'd have to put in your unique name elsewhere in the code. So we're using a constant here to replace the name that you give it and fill out all the code for us. And then the only other thing you need to give each one of your function nodes is the value that you want the output to trigger on. Let's do a test. So we'll close that down, we'll deploy it, and I'm also going to do an off here just to show you. So if you've got like an entity coming in that's doing on and off and you only want to count the ons, we want to make sure that this is going to ignore the offs and not do anything. And let's look at the output of this function node. And all I'm going to do here is just make sure that the status of the node is shown. So that'll pretty much show us the payload of what's coming out of this function node. So let's tidy up a little bit like so, and we'll deploy. So we'll do a refresh to see what my counter is. So my counter is currently 1, so I want to reset that to start with. And as you can see, because we've reset it, it's sent an off. And if we look at that counter now, we can see that's now gone to 0. So the output of the function node won't go on until it receives 3 ons itself. So if I go 1, 2, and we just check the counter, see that's on 2. Now if I press it a third time, and this will go on. So it won't do anything else now because it's basically going to be on all the time. If I send it off, it won't do anything. If your entity is going on and off all the time, we're just going to get a constant on there. So let's just see where I got to on there. Counter, 0. So we do one more on, off, This will now be on 2. Still on there. We hit the reset, and it's only at that point that the counter goes off. So we've got a nice little gate, if you like. So you can use this to count states of things or events happening and only give an output on a certain number of triggers. That's one made. Let's do a copy. So I'm just going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to hold down Shift and click any one of these nodes. It will select all of them. And I'm going to go Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste. And in this one, I need to give it, first of all, give it another name. Now, I'm already using my counter. I don't want this counter to be interfered by picking up values of that one. So I'm going to give this one another unique name. So every time you make a new one, just make sure that you give it another variable name that this is going to save. So I've already used Dave's, so I'm not going to use that anymore. Let's call this another one. One thing to note here, being a variable, you can't have spaces. You can have capitals. It's frowned upon. I mean, I used it here, but ideally this will all be in lowercase, no spaces or special characters apart from an underscore. So this another one, I want this to trigger on, let's say, 4 pulses in. So let's deploy that. If I do a refresh, nothing's happened yet because this hasn't been triggered and that first line hasn't made our counter. So first time I trigger it, it's going to make the counter and give it a value of 1 because it's received an on. So as soon as you deploy it and it gets its first input, it will set the variable name and increment it by 1. And then we won't get anything here until this one receives 4 pulses or 4 ons. So at the moment we're on 1. So we do 2, 3, and we'll do a refresh here. So we're on 3. Next one being the 4th one, we'll get an output of on. And there you go. And then we look here and that will get reset to 0. And then it won't do anything else. If it receives ons or offs, I'll trigger this loads of times. Let's see what it's got to. Oh, just 2. So we'll do another 2. Do bring that down to 0. And we can see that it's still on until it gets the reset, in which case our function node sends out an off. So that was the flow.get and set. And as you can see, this is in the flow context menu. There's also a global context menu. Now, the flow context menu, this variable is only available in this particular flow that we're on. So if I was to look at the variable here in another flow, say, you can see here that this flow doesn't have these variables. If I go back, only this flow has the variables that we've set up. Now, there's a global context menu, and that is, as the name suggests, global to any one of your flows. So let me demonstrate how we use that. And it really is quite simple. So I'm going to shift, pick one of these nodes, copy paste again, This one I'm going to name global 1, and all we need to do to change this from a flow context variable to a global context variable is change the flow to global. So in Node-RED and various other code editors actually, if I double click that to select it, if I hit Control F2, you can see that it's selected all of these where the word flow occurs. So if I delete that and type in global, it changes all of them for us, which is nice. Now I want to give this another name so we can differentiate it. This will be, let's call this one global 1. And I'm going to change that back to 2. Another keyboard shortcut, I do Control Enter to hit the done button that was up there, and then I'll do Control D to deploy it. So now if we look at here, we've added nothing here, we've added nothing there, because we haven't triggered this yet. And I'm going to trigger this one with an off to start with. It's just not going to add anything to the counter, but it will make the variable. So again, we look at the flow, we refresh that. G1 hasn't been made there, but if I refresh the global, we can see that G1 variable has been made there instead. And it's got a 0 because I didn't give it an on, so it hasn't incremented that. But if we look on another flow, we can see that G1 is available to this flow as well. In fact, it's available to any of my flows. So you can use that to pick out the variable from any one of your flows and not just restrict it, as these first two did, to this single flow. It's as simple as that. One little caveat with this, both the flow and the global variables are in memory only. So if I was to restart Node-RED and we just do a time lapse, and that looks like it started. If we go back to Node-RED now and we look at our first flow, we can see that if I refresh here, both the local or flow variables for this particular tab and the global variables have disappeared. Now, to get these variables to stick between restarts of Node-RED, like I just did, or restarts of Home Assistant, we need to set up a file system that these variables get saved to as well. And it's quite simple to do. I use VS Code or Studio Code. You can use whatever file editor you've got available to you, whether it's the Home Assistant one. And then in the Node-RED folder, drill down that, you'll see a file called settings.js. So if we open that up, we just need to add a few lines to this to tell Node-RED to save everything to the local file system and not just keep it in memory. Now, each one of these sections, apart from all this stuff up here, we'll go down to the bottom. Each one of these sections is designated by a name and then a square brackets. And if I select one, you can see the other one is highlighted as well. So that tells me that this particular one, palette categories, all its values are in between these two brackets. It finishes with a comma. So this tells the settings that there's something else after it, except for the last one, which doesn't have a comma. So we need to replicate that. I'm going to make a new line. I'm going to use 2 to give us some spaces. And all we need to put in here is context, uppercase S, storage. Then we do colon. Then we want to give it an object, so this is going to be open curly brackets, and again it's giving us the open curly brackets, so I'm going to hit enter to start putting in some data, and the data we want to put in is default colon open curly brackets again, hit enter to give us a space to type it in, and all we need to put in here is module colon speech marks, and again good editors will finish the block for us. So it's giving us the second set of speech marks, and local file system, all one word. So that's the block done. We need to tell Node-RED that there's other stuff after this, and like we got here, we just need to add a comma at the end. So Node-RED knows that it's part of this list and there's other stuff coming after it. We're going to do Control S to save. So that's done. We can close down that now. We're going to need to restart Node-RED or restart Home Assistant. I'm just going to restart Node-RED. And now we're doing a time lapse. Ooh, time lapse. Let's check the logs again and see where we're going. Now that Node-RED's restarted, we've got our variables there, so we can just clear those just by deleting them manually, and that will clear them out the file system as well. Don't delete that one. I don't know what will happen. I don't think it's a good idea to try it. So there we've got no variables saved. So let's trigger all these again. Let's do the first one. What do we call that one? My counter. So we'll trigger that. We'll give it 2. Second one, I called that one another one. And that one had 4. So I'm going to give 3 on that one. 3 on that one, another one. And then the global, that one had just 2, so I'm only going to put 1 here. I don't want to trigger it. And there we go. So we got our 3 variables. So let's restart Node-RED once again for a demonstration to see if those variables stick this time. So we're just going to quickly go back, but we're going to do another. Let's look at the logs during the time lapse. Okay, that should have started by now. So we'll load it up, we'll scroll down to our demonstrations. And if we look again, we can see that we've got our 2 flows. And if we look at the global, we've got our globals, and it's kept all the values of the variables. So there you go, local, global variables, and saving them to the file system so they survive a reset. Let me show you a practical use that I have for this. So I'm going to clear these out just to keep everything tidy. So delete those variables. Now I've got various states in my Home Assistant for when I'm awake and asleep, and I have a flow for that. One of the functions in this tab, or flow, is to detect when I'm asleep. There's an Amazon Echo device next to my bed. I've set up a function in Alexa that listens out for when I'm snoring. I've got a routine set up, so when it hears snoring, basically the routine turns on this, what it thinks is a light that I've called sleep detector. All this flow does, we'll come back to these in a second, is I've got a snore, and you can see here I've got a snoring variable. So in here, all the code's the same, I've just added comments here, which you'll find in the code that I give you, but it's a local variable because I'm using flow here, and you can see that over here in the flow, one called snoring. I'm currently awake, so I'm not snoring at the moment. So I've given that the name snoring. What this does is it waits for me to be snoring 3 times in a row and then triggers something. That's something that it's doing in my case. When this outputs an on, it slowly turns down the volume of my TV and eventually turns it off. I like to fall asleep to TV, science programs mainly. Not much point in having it running after I fall asleep, so it slowly turns it down so it's not jarring, and then eventually turns off the TV. I've got a couple of other things here, apart from these insert nodes that I've used for testing. The snore, as you remember, will reset when it receives a reset and sends an off out. So I want this to be reset if A, I'm awake. I don't want the TV turning off or going down if I'm awake. And also, when I first start the going to bed routine, I'll turn the TV on. So I want to make sure that this snoring variable is set to 0 at the start of my bedtime, so it's actually counting 3 snores, so it's not previously set to 1 or 2. So that's one use case scenario. Like I say, I use it to turn the TV off, but there are many other states, and you want it to only trigger after 2, 3, 4, or any number of triggers that you set here. Let me know in the comments below what you're going to use this for. If you found it interesting, please leave a like. Well, I hope this video was helpful with your projects. Please do share it so others can find it as well. I upload videos whenever I can, so subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified. That's it. Thanks for watching.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.